Good afternoon, I'm Karen Holmes Ward, and welcome to Cityline. The run-up to the November midterm elections is following a growing trend. More women are on the ballot across Massachusetts. Just take a look at the slate of candidates running for the top seats in the state. Democrats Maura Healey and Salem Mayor Kim Driscoll are looking to make history as the first female team to lead Massachusetts. Republican Leah Cole Allen is running for lieutenant governor. Democrat Andrea Campbell is looking to be the state's attorney general. Diana DiZoglio for auditor. And Republican Rayla Campbell is vying for Secretary of State. And there are lots of women in down ballot races too. Joining me now to discuss the gains for women statewide and across the country is political science professor Erin O'Brien of UMass Boston and Anita Roman of Amplified Latinx. Thank you both for joining us. So while the top of the ballot looks like a strong sign that women are taking a bigger role in state politics, Massachusetts is still behind other states when it comes to putting women in office. So let's start with a little history lesson. Professor O'Brien, tell us where we are.
We are decidedly average. If you look from suffrage to now, 100 years, Massachusetts has followed what all the other states have done, middle of the pack. And we're last in New England in terms of electing women. So the history lesson in Massachusetts is that we're behind in New England and we're decidedly average. So that's not a place Massachusetts likes to be.
But there's lots of celebration as we're looking at this trend. Do you think the trend will continue?
I think it will, but again, that longitudinal analysis, when you look at it, it's not slow and steady. Massachusetts has held, it's not that we see these big spikes of improvement. Rather, we've been around 25% of the legislature since the 90s, and we're only at 31% now. So while I am very excited about, the graphic you just showed, I don't think it's going to filter down to 50-50 parity anytime soon.
All right. Anita, the Latino community is gaining strength in Massachusetts, and there's been a significant step towards achieving equitable representation when it comes to Latinx candidates running for the state legislature. If you could give us a view of what you see.
Correct. Thank you so much, Karen. So, we're very positive about the changes, particularly regarding the candidates that won in the primary. Some of them are going to be contested, others not. So we're going to see a shift in representation, and it just, it's very hopeful, right? I hear what the professor is saying, and I still believe there's a lot of work to be done, particularly for a state like Massachusetts, where we consider ourselves progressive and forward-thinking, and it's good. Democracy, it's having representation, having diversity is so important at all levels, up and down the ballot. So right now, our focus is continuing to focus on up and down ballots, but not just that, making sure that we have a pipeline of leaders that represent the community.
It may seem obvious, but I'd like to ask the question anyway. Why haven't more Latino candidates, Latinas, stepped up to run?
That is that is a very important question to ask, because for women in particular is we need multiple people to come up to us to tell us, to ask us, run for office, right? I think we're at an inflection point in our history right now, especially because women's issues have come at the forefront of the news and just politics in general. So I believe I wanna think that this is just the beginning, right? And I hear the professor. We should have more representation on Beacon Hill and at the local level, and school committees, city councils. But I believe that this is a moment that we're going to continue seeing more women running for office. And I think to answer your question, the financial aspects are really challenging for a lot of women candidates. Women, as we saw in the pandemic,
because you have to raise money not only to run the campaign, to pay your campaign staff, increasingly paying for advertising. And
let's go take it a step further. At home, right? The cost of childcare, and if you have children at home.
While you're out holding office and or running for office, somebody's got to take care of the kids at home.
Correct.
All right, Erin. This leads into my next question to you. Why are more women, though, now seeming to overcome some of these things and enter the political field, and give us more insight, if you will, on what has prevented them from running.
Sure. I'll take the last part first. Why haven't women run in Massachusetts, or why haven't they run and won? Ironically, a lot of that has to do with single party control. Many women, not all women, would argue that it is better when Democrats are in office for women when it comes to things like reproductive rights and pay equity. But parties only expand. They only look to new candidates that are more diverse when they feel electorally threatened. And Democrats are not electorally threatened in Massachusetts. So I think that's one of the reasons, an ironic one, that has kept women from running and winning. And it's also the case that women are still disproportionately responsible for childcare and home care. And we're amongst the most expensive states with the least progressive policy when it comes to elder care and child care. So I think even though Massachusetts sort of has a seemingly good mix or ripe stew, if you will, for electing women in terms of high education and pretty high earnings and things like that, those other factors of child care, elder care, and single party control have blocked women.
So we've been we've been talking about statewide office, but at the city level, we seem to have had great success. Women have transformed the Boston City Council in recent years. Last year, of course, Michelle Wu became the first woman elected to the mayor's office. Is that a sign that things are changing? I think about Julia Mejia playing a prominent role in Boston City Council.
One vote. Yes, it is a big change. And that's, my new friend and colleague was talking about the pipeline. That pipeline, these are the women that, Michelle Wu came from the city council and now she's mayor of Boston. Ayanna Pressley came from the city council and now she's a U.S. congressperson. So that is the pipeline effect. We're seeing it here. And we're seeing women run against each other. These women on the council don't agree on endorsements all the time. They don't always agree on policy. And that's another good thing. Women are not a block, but we're seeing that pipeline effect. And when women run and win, other women think, I can do that.
Let me ask Anita, our lawmakers have doubled the number of state Senate districts now, with majority-minority populations now at 6, and added 13 more seats in the House. How has that impacted the potential for more diversity in the State House?
Well, absolutely. I mean, right now we saw it at the primaries, right? Like we have a slate of new candidates who will be on Beacon Hill representing these communities. And as the professor stated, when you see yourself represented, you see the possibility of potentially being in that seat in the future. So it's really important that, representation is so powerful, right? And we want to make sure that these new leaders that are representing the interest of the gateway communities and Latino communities and other underrepresented communities can make sure that they build that pipeline at the local level so that they can go state and federal perhaps at some.
We're almost out of time. I want to ask Professor O'Brien, the Supreme Court decision in June eliminating the constitutional right to abortion had an impact on new female candidates here in Massachusetts and nationwide. So it appears that that issue has driven women to register in more numbers than ever before. Do you think it will have a big impact long term?
Yes. Mobilizing events, focusing events, we know those are things that motivate people to the polls. The overturning of Roe is as focusing as it gets. Women like myself have been alive their whole lives and have had Roe. So yes, it's not just going to be this cycle that the ramifications of that decision are felt. It'll be this cycle and other cycles moving forward because women have been further politicized.
All right, Anita Roman from Amplify Latinx, thank you for being here. And Professor Erin O'Brien, thanks both for your insights. We'll keep a close look at this. Up next, Tina Turner. The Tina Turner musical is up next. The two performers that tell Tina Turner's story on stage. Stay tuned for more of Cityline.